I think last week we put a lot of good things on film, on tape. Only way I could describe it is a bar fight. You know, we got in there, especially in the trenches, both sides of the ball, O-line and D-line. We really, I think, put our identity out there. So the next, 10 opponents are going to have to look at that and be like, okay, like this is a team to be messed with in our conference. Overall, though, I just think the toughness stood out for our team, you know, from top to bottom. But then for this coming week, like you said, I'm no stranger to it. I've yet to beat him. I've played him a good number of times, but I think the people in this building, from the head coach down to, the true freshman who just got here, support staff and everything, we all deserve to have the trophy come back home to Miami. This is where it's supposed to be, and this is where it's going to be for the next couple of years, but that starts with this Saturday.
Questions for Julius?
Kind of seemed like you guys struggled a little bit at the start there in that first drive. Just what was the message from Pata, and then how do you guys kind of adjust it to Penn State a little bit?
That was just a little bit of a, it's just a little different, a little bit different of an atmosphere, a little bit different of an opponent. That's all it was, I guess, just, realizing that we belong. We work just as hard as they do. We put our pants on just like they do. They're human, rankings coming out of high school don't really mean nothing if when you spot that ball, you're going to have to, I'm going to do my job to try to make you hate football for 60 minutes. So I think it was just, getting settled in, and soaking it all in. And just that first drive was just realizing that it's just football, So once that was out the way, the message from Potter was just keep playing ball.
I don't think that trophy case was here back when you were around, but how much motivation does it add to you as, someone who's been here for quite a bit, for 2 stints, but still knowing what the rivalry means to this program and the community?
It does add some motivation just seeing it. It's a constant reminder. It's you just walk in the meeting room every day and you see it and you're like, this is the week where we earn that, where we earn that we're going to turn the lights on in that thing and we're going to come in every day and see that trophy, that we earned that. Like I said, don't really need much more motivation, personally, but there's a lot of people, especially with the transfer portal era of college football, who are new to it. So it's going to be an interesting week trying to get them, build that hatred for the school right up the highway. So, personally, I don't need much motivation. I'm going to go out there. It's going to be a bar fight. So, yeah.
Talk a bit about what you did see from those 2 sacks allowed against Penn State, and then again, only 2 sacks allowed against the number 2 team in the nation.
I think a lot of people doubted us. I think 2 sacks, that's not our standard at all. In our offensive line room, that's definitely not what you don't want to look at the box score at the end of the day and be like, we let up 2 sacks versus anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if we're playing Penn State or if we're playing a high school JV team down the road. So I just think a lot of people doubt us, but at the end of the day, like I talked about earlier, I think I'm proud of us because they have a great amount of talent up there at Penn State. A couple guys who are going to make a lot of money, pretty soon here. And the fact that we got out there and fought, not like it was, like I said, not like we were surprised, but I think 2 sacks is too many to, all in all.
This coaching staff's really shown a commitment to the run game as an offensive lineman. I know you probably don't mind pass blocking, but I'm sure you probably would rather run people over.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have been able to open up holes really, not only against Bethune, but against, like you said, a strong defensive line in Penn State. So just, you talk a little bit about that commitment to the run game and how being successful in that will set you guys up for success offensively.
Oh, yeah. I think, the run game opens up the pass game first and foremost. And we have dynamic playmakers all across the field, from our quarterback, all of our running backs, our receiver. We have a deep receiving room. So the fact that we can run the ball and we put up 142 yards on a top 5 defense, who's been a top 5 defense for the past however many years, their defensive coordinator just won a national championship, so put up 142 rushing yards, I think, to a staple of, I go back to saying the standard. That's something that we have pride in. We just, like I said, it's our mission to make somebody hate football for 60 minutes, and running the ball down their throat every play that we have the opportunity to do that. That's how you get that done.
Talk a bit about FAU's defense and what you've taken away the most on how they didn't get to the quarterback against Maryland, but did get to the quarterback against Florida A&M.
I think two entirely different teams, two entirely different game plans that they had to go in with. I think watching film on them, they have. I don't want to give them too much respect. You know, they're gonna have to earn that from me Saturday, but they have some decent playmakers. You know, who can make plays. It's our job to make sure they don't. I think they do a lot of movement and they're good at it on the line. I don't think there's much, you know, that our offensive line can't handle as far as getting to the quarterback from their side, their perspective. Well, I think, again, fall back to the standard. That's just something that we talk about a lot, so that's why I brought it up so much. It's given us a good, you know, boost of confidence, just because we know, like I said, there's nobody that we can't hang with in our room. We have some pretty massive bodies on our offensive line and people who can move, you know, some dynamic playmakers. You know, we're the fat boys up front, but, you know, we're still out there making plays, are allowing our guys to make plays. Like I said, we have some extremely good ball carriers and handlers. So yeah, as far as the confidence goes, that was a big boost, well needed. You know, just went out there and did our job.
Just one more question for Julius.
Heading into this matchup, right? What do you think is going to be the biggest thing you guys take away from last week heading into this week? And then kind of tying into that, you know, how important is it going to be for you guys to, as a team that's run the ball successfully the past few weeks, really establish that and really set the tone in this matchup?
Takeaways from last week that we can take into this week is that we have to be consistent. You know, the things that we do don't happen by accident. You know, you don't put up back-to-back 100-yard games by accident. You know, you don't go in there and you don't have the performance that we had as a team, offensively and defensively, all across the board, without preparing and putting in the work and, you know, busting your tail for the guy next to you over and over in every play. You know, every snap, every opportunity we have at practice, every meeting. You know, staying locked in. So that's what I take from last week to this week is they both, Coach Simmons tells us all the time, the most important game we have is the game that's right now, you know, or the most important thing we have is what's right now. So we just have to attack practice like it's, you know, the last time we'll play football, attack this week in its entirety like it's the last time we'll play football, because that's the intensity that it needs. And then can you repeat the second half?
Just, you know, how important is it going to be to set the tone in this matchup?
Oh yeah, something I always tell myself, and that we've heard from our coach, Coach Pata, is excuse me, the team will move as we move. So I think it's extremely important to get out there and from the first drive, you know, as soon as we get the ball in our hands and as soon as we have that first opportunity, to let them know that, you know, it's not a joke. You know, we're not out here. Yeah, we play a game, but this is serious. For 60 minutes, it's gonna be not fun for you.
It's one of the OGs on the team and just been around the Sugar Bowl rivalry. Can you just give one message to Panther Nation about needing their support for this weekend and what they can expect on Saturday? Absolutely.
Expect the dynamic offense to show back up. You know, we kind of didn't have much of that last week, but the first week, it's coming back. It's coming back. You pack it out. We're not going to disappoint. We're going to lock the cage down, bring that trophy back home. Let's get it, Panther Nation. Paws up.